pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the law of the nation, to this law. Meeting of the Board of Selectmen come to order. Let the record reflect that we have a full attendance. Jack,
The meeting for the Board of Finance comes to order. We have 5 members here. We got Brett, Nikki, Paula, Sue, and myself, and missing is Victor. He's sick, so.
okay, this is on the agenda. First item, to consider pursuant to section 6-10A of the town charter, the request for an amended and restated appropriation in the amount of $4,255,000 and bond issuance authorization in the amount of $4,255,000 for the Great Oak Elementary School HVAC project. For consideration. Jim, you want to tell us what this is all about? Bond issue, bond authorizations. Short-term borrowing.
One of the items, it is a joint meeting. Then the next step is of course an action, which is happening. Board of Finance has to meeting. Beginning you a couple tonight. Another page we follow all that meetings. Here's the agenda for this one meeting. Then the next pages are the agenda for equipment and round one is the finance. One other thing that is in here, projects on board. Not the amount of bond because we'll have so the bonding amount is less than this. The authorization. That's why number 1 on your agenda is actually an amendment. So I think HVAC system. Well, I only had I went out to borrow money. Amended, but has a whole possible. Short-term borrowing. From high school was the outdoor action. For probably 3 years now. Great Oak Elementary School. Probably 60 days before we're going through it.
Anybody from the Board of Selectmen have any questions regarding this? This is just, just correcting something that was done by mistake. I got that.
Worse. Those are
I told him to call you. This is, this just got to be corrected. What we already bonded, or what we already put in, wasn't done right, and now it is, and that's what it's all about. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jim. Is that okay? Does this have any impact on the progress of GOES HVAC? Okay. All right, so it's just paper, that's all. We're gonna go forward with what we have to do with Great Oak Elementary School. Okay. Anybody,
So then the, sorry,
Okay.
can I go? All right. So the Great Oak
what are you asking him?
gym, you talk to the thing, the gym and cafeteria and the Quaker Farms HVAC system, the grants came in at about 40%, right? Yeah. Uh-huh. And then just one other question. If it's such a long and arduous process to do the bonding, why didn't we put the fire truck in here too, that we know is going to be right there with all this?
We could also do a lease to buy a fire.
With refining,
Give it to him.
We're not getting a separate bond. We're getting a bond appropriation so we can borrow the money. So we don't have to go out and get a bond because that costs us about $50,000. So if we throw it all in, if we have to put the $1.8 million in there, we'll put it all in together. This total appropriation for the two schools was $10,835,000. Okay, of which it really nets out to $5 million to the town. But we finished Great Oak. When did we finish that project? 3 months, 4 months ago? Yeah, the first Great Oak. Okay, we haven't seen, we were supposed to get $1,888,000 from the state. We haven't seen a penny of that yet. So that forces us to actually get more money. We're borrowing the money we were supposed to get when we finished the project.
Well, I didn't know that. We haven't gotten anything from that yet. All right, so
Yeah, 412,000 we did get. 412, yeah.
okay, so we're gonna have to lean on that. Okay, so that money's already spent though.
Yeah.
So all we're looking for now is reimbursement. Okay.
It's gonna come first, the money coming back from the state or you going to bonding? Hard to tell.
have it together.
Okay, but for purposes of this, we could certainly reconcile those figures later on. But this is merely to make sure that we comply with the state requirements. Okay. I mean, you have anything you'd like to add to this? And now Herman is the chairman of the building committee, so, or you,
Right, yeah.
now, where did that money come from, Jim? But we've already paid how much on them? We gotta get that money comes back, it goes in back into the available fund balance. Okay, and we better hurry. Yeah,
George, I don't know if this question goes to you or goes to Jack or Jim. When you add up all the bonds, it's almost $15 million, which is 31% of our, essentially, of the budget that we have. And the charter says anything more than 10% has to go to referendum. My concern going to referendum is it requires 15% of the population to come out. So how do we reconcile the fact that we're going out for $15 million in bonding and it's 31% versus the 10% that we're allowed?
we'll get that later at another item on the agenda here. This is just strictly to, it's a good question, by the way, and one that's the Board of Selectmen have to consider tonight. But just for purposes of what's on the table now, it's just that one item to correct what we've already done. My curiosity was where'd the money come from, and if it came from fund balance, we better get going.
Slightly over the 10%.
Well, like I said, we'll get to that later because I also, I share Brett's concerns on that. And we will get to it later and, well, either we forestall a project or go ahead with it. But, we go ahead with it, we have to have a clear idea of what we're doing.
And-
That's a lot of money.
And just so I can add one thing, since I was on the last 3 charter committees and we rewrote this section, our intent, listen, I'm for these 4 projects, but the intent behind the rewriting of this section wasn't to be able to break projects up to skirt the 10% issue. So the intent behind it was the total bonding. Just so that you understand where I'm coming from. But I'm all for these projects, but the intent was one bond for total amount. If it's more than 10%, it requires a referendum. But I'm afraid of the referendum because I don't think you'd get 1,500 people out to vote for
The problem is, I think it's going to be an either or situation, but we'll get to that later.
Okay.
But we have a referendum, it won't pass.
Well, and we discussed it before, the other option is you go to referendum for the whole amount with 4 separate questions. It's been done before.
But that's what Brett's
Project A,
saying.
B, C, and D.
Yeah, but you still need
It defeats the
10%
purpose
of the voting population to come out.
Right.
Or 15%. 15%.
Yeah, good luck.
I think if the 4 million for the flood, that'll guarantee 15%.
Well,
I think.
The next one. Unless you have any further questions, anyone? Finance or board, all right. The next question, consider pursuant to section 610A of the town charter, the request for an appropriation in the amount of $4 million and bond issuance authorization in the amount of $4 million for the flood damage repair and rehabilitation project. Jim, this is money that we've already spent, correct? Not funded yet. And they're, Arnie, you would know better than the rest of us, but they're going through their budget process now, correct?
Yeah, starting, yeah.
Yeah. So, that hasn't been funded. We've already paid for it. But it was under we may not have the same requirement vis-a-vis the referendum, since we're still under a state of emergency, and that state of emergency allows expenditures outside of what the town charter calls for. So I think we still be able to. That isn't to say that we don't vote on a referendum or we don't go to a town meeting on it. I think we have to, but just to approve it. But that money has already been spent, and while we're here, I'd like to have Jim Galligan, who is our town engineer, update the Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen as to what's going on with the flood recovery now.
We can speak on all of those within. Our track code is one of the ones. Several different patrol.
I should point out that on next Monday, even though it's a holiday, I guess, we will be meeting with, and Jack, you or your designee are invited to this meeting when Kristen forms everything up. we'll be meeting with, a, a lobbyist from the state who I know very well. And, we see what they would charge us to lobby to keep on top of all this stuff, to ask the questions which we in town government don't always have the time to do, or the ability to go up to Hartford every other day. So uh, they, this particular firm is probably the biggest lobbyist firm. I don't know, you would know better, but they're pretty good. And the guy I'm meeting with is uh, the owner of it. He used to be mayor of Torrington when he was 20 years old. So, and he did 8 years in that. Uh, but we're going to meet with them and see if they have a proposal to make sure that the town is always on the front burner. That's what's concerning me is as the time goes by, we may not be the priority that, we should be or we think we are. So, we'll see what that is. And, uh, I think hiring them in the long run could certainly pay off, especially when, like, for instance, the bridge loan part of it that we talked about was, something that they want to do, but it's not funded. So what a lobbyist does is get it funded, and we certainly could use that. Certainly could use, there's another fund there for municipal bridges. And we're going to push through to get them to pay for Sefton and Park. So, what we continue to work for the best result that we can get for the town, economically speaking, of course. And also, I'm very impressed with the quality of work we've gotten so far. And I think most people in town are, and they're grateful for the way the town has recovered from it. But the breaking it up in 5 programs there's a few reasons for that. There's 5 different areas that will be able to work simultaneously. Not too many construction firms can work 5 areas simultaneously. But if they work it simultaneously, it'll get things done a lot faster, and there will be competitive bidding. So even though we don't have to do that, we've kind of been doing that all along anyway. We just cut out some of the red tape, but there will be competitive bidding for it. We're going to get the best prices we can, and also we'll have Oxford uh, companies bidding for it, Carrera, Earthworks, or whoever else might consider it. And you know, there's some preparation that they may have to do with respect to easements and things of that nature. But it's if we don't clean that brook up before the spring, it is never going to get cleaned up. It's going to stay there. And I don't know if anybody here had the opportunity to walk around down there I certainly have, and I know you have too, David. There are canoes down there, there are dumpsters, there's cars that all got to be removed. Pardon? Yeah, they've got to be removed and disposed of. And another thing which Jim points out, that's why it's really good to have a group of people who get together with these brainstorming sessions. But if we were to go to say we use Brennan, and Brennan were to deliver the refuse that they're going to put in the public works, that's as far as FEMA pays. But if Brennan has the place that say in Bristol, I know, I don't mean that as a dispersion against Bristol, but where they do have, garbage treatment and stuff like that. If they went up there, then the carting fee would also be paid by FEMA, at least 75% of it. So, those are the kind of economic decisions that we have to make. You're working on the drawings for Lachlan, and when do you expect that done? Okay. And when do you expect the RFPs to go out for the cleanup? Okay, and then we also have, Jim, what percentage of it's gonna be picked up by the Army Corps? Okay, but that's more or less to rechannel or put the channel back where it was. And, oh, okay. Well, we'll figure it out, but, I don't have to tell you, it's gonna cost money. Gonna, I don't anticipate taxes going down, that's for sure. And we did have a reevaluation, which got a lot of people upset. Uh, and I always say they would be much more upset if it went the other way and their property got devalued. Uh, the only thing that evaluation of your property does, along in conjunction with the mill rate, is to determine your fair of the taxes, your fair share. That's it. And uh, because the assessments may be higher, then obviously the Board of Finance should lower the mill rate, in commensurately. But when you figure it all out, I'm relatively sure we're going to wind up with a tax increase. But we want to make that if it's going to be, we want to make sure it's manageable as possible, which means that when people put in their budget requests, that they become as manageable as possible. So anyway, do you have anything more, Jim? Jim, did he hit everything? I have to say, there's a lot less than I thought it would be.
Right.
Meadow didn't cost us anything. Yeah, but then we get money from the bridge fund, the state,
It's, Rich.
Ridge Street, okay. So we've already saved that, which was for sure gonna cost us money. I mean, that's why we gotta keep on the state and federal government, make sure.
It's being split up.
5,
Well,
yeah. 5, Jim, 5 private. Yeah, it's even better. And then, once again, you work simultaneously. instead of having somebody do phase one, then phase two, phase three, we have, you know, 5 companies or, are close to it, working at the same time, which, gets it done. And we got to do it before the spring because when the vegetation's out there, you're not gonna find those cars anymore. They're gonna be just sitting there.
Maybe that's a good thing.
Uh,
I can't find them anymore. Jim, do you have an estimate on Jackson's Cove, what it's gonna cost? Ballpark? Or how about Lockland Road?
Dave, you want to say something?
I like the idea of having 5 projects, if it goes anything at all, like the projects did for fixing the roads, good shape. I don't think anybody can believe that the roads got fixed as well as they did, as quickly as they did. I think that bodes well for us. The other thing is, I'm on the board of directors of the land trust, so I can't tell you how tickled to death we are. Somebody's going to clean up because we have several hundred feet of frontage on 67 along Little River. But my question is, it's not only Little River, is there going to be anything addressed, further action at Jackson's Cove, because the boat launch is now about 100 feet out from where it used to be. There's still a lot of material down there. I'm sure they used a ton of it on Jackson's Cove Road because I know they were taking stuff out. And there's a couple other sections that have been silted in very badly on Freeman Road. So I'm hoping that when this all happens, that they look at everything, not just Little River.
Now, that's a big part of the cleanup,
Yeah.
that area. Now, we're already, it's not just what people can see, it's our environment. And, what we do here today will affect people 50 years from today. If we do a haphazard job, um, that's, somebody's gonna pay in the long run. So,
George, I just have a quick question, if you don't mind.
go ahead.
Um, I'm all for being creative as far as paying for these projects, but I think I heard you say something about a lobbyist. Isn't that what Eric and Arnie are for? There are state reps and our state there are state rep and our state senator. They're supposed to be going on behalf of Oxford, not hiring a lobbyist.
Well, we'll talk about that later. Not tonight, but Arnie and, Nicole, Deidre, they're up there. They got a lot more to do than just chase down this stuff. And actually, the lobbyists are the one that go to them and get them to do it. But obviously, Arnie's on. I don't want to speak for you, but I know you're 100% on board with this project to get this town cleaned up, as you are with our neighboring towns, Southbury and Seymour and Woodbury. I think we're all on board with that. But once again, let's see what the proposal is. I want to see what they will do for us and how much they'll charge us. I'm not for throwing money out, if you pick it up at yours, no.
I mean, if it's paid for performance, fine. But if it's like an annual contract that
Oh
we're
no,
stuck with,
I don't think
then
anybody.
no.
I don't think anybody's thinking that.
Okay, good.
No, no, we're too small to worry about. But I know that Naugatuck uses them. I'm good friends with Mayor Hess, and they're delighted with them. That if you make a phone call, the governor calls you back in 15 minutes. You know, and if I call him, he might be 3 days. But he usually gets back. But and I don't want to be a pest either. I'd rather pay somebody to be a pest. You know.
I have a question for Jim. So the bond amount has to be for the total project amount, we said, right? So for the flood damage, we have 4 million, but we have 3.5 already spent, and then 2 more that are gonna be over 1 million apiece, right? So it looks like it'll be more like 6 million than 4 million.
And we don't have to do that. And we don't have to spend any money. You know, if we don't need it, we're not gonna spend it. Anyone else have any questions on this? Moving right along. Next item, consider pursuant to 6-10A of the town charter, the request for appropriation in the amount of $1,796,000 and bond issuance authorization in the amount of $1,796,000 for the Great Oak Elementary School cafeteria and gym HVAC project. Herman, anything on this? Jim, you have any comments on this?
Question, the energy efficiency rebates, do they give us that as a lump sum, or they give it to us like in a monthly thing off our bill or something? Lump sum. Okay, good.
Anyone else have any, Jack, anybody?
Just that, on these projects, we get the grant, the money comes in, we have the project. We got to make sure we have people in town here that follow these things through, okay? That the money is being collected, that the spending is according to the initial proposal. And we just can't let like 6 or 7 grants lay around here and nobody's following any one of them, because that's the way money gets lost or money gets overspent, okay? And I'd like to say is, I don't know who would do something like that. Maybe our grant writer could oversee and summarize all the grants that we have out there. Because this one for Great Oak, this one here, some of the invoices went in late to the state. And what happened is we're still looking for our money. And we gotta get better controls on this. I don't mind getting the grants. We gotta get the grants. We gotta get the projects done for the school. Hopefully this is our last big project for the school. Could take everyone we fixed up. I told the superintendent that after these projects, we won't even buy him a nail clipper. But we want to get this. I just want somebody to oversee these projects. I just don't want a grant. Somebody says, okay, we got this money coming in. We spend all the money. All the money's been paid for Great Oak out of our general fund. That 5 million, we paid it. The town has paid it. We're not getting, except for that 400,000. I mean, yeah, 400,000 we got back. We haven't received anything. So it's all out on us. I don't mind getting a grant, but pay your grants, state. And I don't like hiring somebody to go get our grants. It's our money. Okay, so you know.
Well, what do you, Jim, you see this as a problem? Maybe what we should have, Karen work with the Board of Ed and, get a status report of all these grants. I think that's a good idea. Yeah, Karen Cook. She's our grant writer. And, you know, the problem, and, this is gonna come up for budget time, but, I think we should probably make Karen full-time and split the cost with the Board of Ed and just use her for town grants.
Our grants and to manage them.
Right. And I think she's very capable of doing that. And, I mean, people are applying for grants. And, I mean, we've had grants that there were applications for that I didn't even know about it. I didn't know about it. People, or they're out on their own. It's not the Wild West. It's got to go through, the proper channels. I think that's a good idea and a good point. And I will have, Karen reach out to the Board of Education and, we'll put this together. But, something to consider for, budget time is if we make her full-time and, pay the benefits and everything else and split the costs. And, that, she'll have plenty to do. She was a very hard worker and does a good job, but, you get these grants, if you don't follow up on them, God knows what's happening. So, and we got some real confusing things coming down. This, to negotiate the red tape involved in this flood is almost unbelievable. With the federal, with the state, and what you got to do, and the pitfalls that you could run into, and uh, just the stuff like we were talking about with the tipping with the with FEMA. They won't reimburse for that if they do it once and that's it. I mean, these are the kind of tricks that you got to pick up on. So yeah, that's a good idea. I think we'll take that. You see any problem with that, Rob? With sending our grant coordinator over there and trying to straighten these things out and. All right, well, we could talk at a later time, but it's a suggestion, really not on the agenda, it was a suggestion. And I'd like to follow up on it. Maybe we'll have a next report, we're able to say what the status of that project is. And I know, Herman, you got all the figures, I'm sure. But we have to have a smooth transition and understanding with the finances of everything. So, um, that's what I'm saying. There's got to be more coordination between your committee, Board of Ed, the town, and our finance director. You undoubtedly. But what the confusion is here, I not not to belabor this point, but what the confusion seems to be is the Board of Ed has to be involved in certain perfunctory aspects of this contract, but you know, then you're involved as the committee, and then the town's involved. So we should be on, even if maybe we are on the same page, but let's make sure. Okay. We'll make sure that don't happen again.
We were just talking about school projects too, Herman. We're talking about all projects, all grants to the town. We weren't only talking about the school projects. Don't worry about it. There's just 2 school projects left. But any grant that comes in for the town, okay, we got like the sidewalk here. We've got a few other things going on that you just don't. Somebody should follow. I'm not saying that somebody should follow these projects, but it's not only the school stuff.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's kind of the topic of the night, though. And
Yeah.
see how we.
I know.
Well, then we'll share that information with everybody. All right, now the last item, Herman. I never thought for 1 minute you weren't. And thank you for everything you've done. You've done a great job with that, by the way. No. All right. No. Go ahead.
No. Warrants.
Wait a minute. Herman. Let me stick to the agenda. I know what you're gonna say, and but the last thing for us to consider is the pursuant to 6 dash. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut anybody off. Do you have any questions about anybody? Okay. To consider pursuant to section 6-10A of the town charter, the request for an appropriation in the amount of $4,890,000 and bond issuance authorization and the amount of $4,890,000 for the Quaker Farm School HVAC project. Jim? Okay. You got it lateral to you, Herman.
Thank you, Paul.
is time of the essence here? Is time of the essence as far as this item?
Time is also.
Right. I'm way ahead of you. I agree with you. Three things. I have to tell you, there's two things. I'm nervous about this because there's of, of what our final is going to be with flood. I don't know what that's going to do to our debt service. Uh, um, and I'm very nervous about the fact that we're probably going to have to put in three-phase up there. And we had that problem before with the project up by the airport, and just to run a line across somebody's yard, or not yard, but their property, cost the town what, $180,000? Remember that, Artie?
175.
Once, okay. And God knows what this is going to be. I'm not ready to vote on this because I don't know what the final answer is. And and I understand, unless you've got an estimate from EverSource on it. I want to know, uh, obviously, we don't have the electrical service we'll need for the project. And I don't think we're going to look too smart if we approve an item that we can't use because we don't have electricity. Yeah, sure. I know we do. Not to that building though.
Yeah, three phase.
Ryan's Court.
What's that going to cost the town? Well, we don't know. To me, I didn't think that should cost the town anything to run that.
It's the first.
It's a long half paragraph, Also, if we put it off, and we put it off, kind of satisfies what Brett's concern was with the uh, $10 million ban in the.
My concern wasn't individually, it was in total. And even if you remove this one project, you're still in total greater than the 10%. So, you could say one or the other, but if we don't do the project and we don't get the rebate from Eversource, we lose the entire thing. And then the full cost of the project, when it finally gets done, is on the burden of taxpayers,
Well, what do
which
you,
I'm against.
what's your choice?
Did Herman just say he could extend that
Yes.
out another year?
Yes. Is that lying on the table with the state? The state? It's a state grant. I had a conversation with Commissioner Boughton, and I told him about that potential. And what he told me is, don't worry about it. It's going to be there. Uh, whether the good news is the state, according to Mark Boughton, the state has a $250 million surplus now. So this is one of the reasons why we're looking to have an advocate for us up there. Is I think that could be done. But be honest with you, I'm reluctant. I don't know what the feeling is with the other selectmen, but I'm reluctant to take on this kind of a debt service when when we had a flood and we're still not settled as to how much that's going to be. We got a good idea. It's good news. It's very good news, but it's all hypothetical right now. We have nothing in black and white. Another half paragraph. Okay. Well, that's why we're just putting that. That's on there just for housekeeping. That's all. We had the wrong. You're talking about item number 1. Yeah. Well, we're not even considering that right now. Over 10.
Wait a minute. Item number 1, you're talking about Great Oak. Okay, item number 1 is already paid for. The vendors we paid it out of our general fund. We haven't received the money, so that isn't 5 million. Sure? Okay, we've been waiting since. So then we're not looking for, we wouldn't be looking for 4 million too, right?
26.
What Jim said is it's pacing, that's right. It has to be there in order to do the bond, right?
So just real quick, so hold on 1 second, Herman. So if you do the math, okay,
Yeah.
the bond says that the mill rate is going to be a 0.14 mill increase for this one project. So for every $100,000 of assessed value, it only costs taxpayers $14. So we're only talking about $14 per $100,000 to the taxpayer. I don't like to increase taxes, but to then ask the taxpayer in 2 years, 4 years, 5 years to pick up the entire cost, to me, I think is fiscally irresponsible. It's my opinion.
Oh, what I'm saying is nothing's on the table. Nothing's left on the table. CP is. I don't believe that.
I thought I read in the paper where the legislature took some of that money for HVAC out for other projects. They took it out.
I'll just throw this out. If to me, it's a no-brainer to extend it to 2026 if it's not going to cost anything. But the other thing is, whether you're saying Eversource, it's not going to be any cost to increase that. And I'd like to see something in black and white that either it's costing us X number of dollars or it isn't costing us anything. Because otherwise, you got a blank check out there.
Right.
I understand, but the fact that you said you could extend the closing date by a year, it should give more than enough time to get definite concrete numbers from Eversource. If it's going to be free, fantastic. Doesn't cost us anything at the end to delay it to 2026. And if it costs us something, we need to know that. The potential for the cost of what it's going to be is already in the figures that you've given us, is what you're telling us. Is there any harm in extending the date to 2026? Other than Eversource would know they have more time to lollygag around doing their part.
express it, there is a cost. This is a human. It's not how students. It's 95 years. Or that's. Faster we can get this project done. Parents have to work, made on effort. And then, hopefully, resources fast. Parents have to get the project done at time. Then we. Wait. Yes, there is a plan. Will impact the five decisions made. Project done.
Just say real quickly, it didn't in any chance infer that we should put the project off. I just said that if we extend the date, that we don't jeopardize losing any grant money. I certainly didn't mean to, by any stretch, to delay the project. That's what I'm talking about. It's exactly what I'm talking about.
All right, Rob?
I just want to say that I wholeheartedly support things. Started now. Started now. We don't know exactly when I'm supposed to. Starts, they come in later. It's work around here. Finally, to Brett's point, I would like to hear how you came up with that, just to with your other.
Yeah, sorry.
So, I will ask the chairman of the Board of Education, I'd like to see this project get started. Explanation. Miller's, I'd like to hear how.
We're up against a time constraint here.
You want me to just answer that or no?
Talk to him okay, talk out.
Just before we move on, I know we're short for time, but just on this topic, during budget season last year, we received a stack of emails from parents related to the Board of Education, just general issues and things that they wanted to see funded. And the Quaker Farm School heating and cooling issue is a reoccurring theme in a great many of the emails that we received.
I'd like to see something done about security up there, but that's beside the point. All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Board of Selectmen are adjourned.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor? All in favor? Okay.
That's the joint meeting. Okay. Now the board, please rise for pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the great monarch for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Okay, we have before the Board of Selectmen special meeting, there are no comments unless requested. The first item is to consider pursuant to section 6-10A of the town charter, the request as amended and restated appropriations in the amount of $4,255,000 and bond issuance authorization in the amount of $255,000 for the Great Oak Elementary School HVAC project. Would like to, I'm looking for a motion to refer this to the Board of Finance to schedule a public hearing on it.
Should I read this resolution here?
Yeah, why don't you?
Okay. So the resolution is
Waive the reading.
Right.
For a motion to waive the reading of the motion and the financial statement.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, once again. Item number 1, to send it on to the Board of Finance. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Discussions. Kind of obvious, we gotta do it.
Yep.
Yeah, we have to.
We discussed this.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 2, to send on to the Board of Finance a request for the appropriation in the amount of $4 million and bond issuance authorization in the amount of $4 million for the flood damage repair and recovery project.
So moved.
Need a resolution not to read the financial statement again?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, why don't you second it and then,
All right, I'll second.
okay, now make that motion.
Now I make a motion to a resolution not to read the entire financial statement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so motion to send it on to the
So moved.
Board of Finance, okay. Discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. To consider pursuant to section 610A, an appropriation in the amount of $1,796,000 and bond issuance authorizations in the amount of $1,796,000 for $96,000 for the Great Oak Elementary School cafeteria and gymnasium HVAC project.
Second. And then
All right,
resolution
All-
not to read the full financial statement?
Second.
all in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now the motion to send it on to the Board of Finance. Now, what is the status of this project, Herman? In one sentence. What's the status of the roof project that
It's done.
okay. So what, we're sending this there to pay for work we've already done.
Oh, there's the HVAC that goes on top of the roof.
Oh, that's what I was asking.
Should be done first.
That hasn't been done.
No.
That's more in the sentence, that's all. It's undone, okay. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. Finally, to consider in section 6-10A of the town charter that a request for appropriation in the amount of $4,890,000 and a bond issuance authorization in the amount of $4,890,000 for the Quaker Farm School be sent on to the Board of Finance. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Okay, now do your other thing about not having to
So-
read it.
Yep, a resolution not to read the full financial statement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Any questions or motions? Go ahead. What do you say?
Yeah, they should all be done at once. That's,
Okay. And you're in agreement with that?
Yeah, I mean, hearing what Herman said, that money was built into the cost and it's not gonna cost us anything to have that. When we discussed this earlier, I had huge concerns and was probably gonna motion to table, but knowing what I know now, I don't see anything gained by doing.
Okay, I just have one question, Jim. If we do this, is the bond council gonna require a referendum? Or can we do it by town meeting? Without the referendum?
Actually, max.
Well, we're over the 10%.
Right.
Now that,
Where's the other
To lower by
200,000
4 million?
coming from?
we'll have to
I-
come up with it.
By lowering it to 4 million?
We have to borrow it.
So lowering it to 4 million. On the 10%.
And then we'd have to find the other
Question.
almost 200,000.
Question here, see the 1,796,000? Okay, if we are in, what, a month, gonna get that 1.8 million less 10% of that? We have the money for that then. Huh? Different project with the money's coming in from, the state. We have to use it on that project, period? Okay.
Whoa. This is Board of Selectmen meeting. My question is for you, Jim. If we lowered this money, if we amended the motion to lower the money, then we could come up with we could borrow the $200,000 if we had to. Correct? So why not do it that way? Okay? That way we can get going on the project and we could still be within what the requirements are with respect to bonding. And we won't have the bond council, are you sure that the bond council will approve it without a referendum? Okay. Okay. And
Okay.
is there a motion to reduce?
Bond.
Yeah,
So if you-
yeah, it's true.
so
Is there
even less.
is there a motion to reduce the amount from $489,000?
4.98 million, 4.89 million.
Whatever.
Jim, what's the number you'd have to reduce it to?
4.64.
Here, I'm gonna put in there, nothing about the raise.
No, this avoids it. This avoids a referendum.
On four millions.
Make that motion.
All right. I make a,
Hello. Go ahead.
I make a motion to reduce the amount of the appropriation from 4.89 million to 4.64 million for the Quaker Farms HVAC project.
And send it on to the Board of
And
Finance.
send it on to the board of Finance.
644.
Yeah, I thought he said 644.
Yeah.
Seconded.
I don't think there's gonna be much discussion there. I think it's the way to go. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That's the amendment, right?
Yeah.
Not the motion.
Now, on the motion, with the amended motion, any further questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Eighteenth and September. On all four of those items.
We do, or Board of Finance does.
Board of Finance will set the public hearing. You need to set the town meeting date of Wednesday, May 29th, or January 29th.
Okay,
What do we need?
we haven't adjourned yet. Dave, we didn't adjourn yet.
Now, you did, nobody seconded.
No, it's, we didn't vote on it. Dave? All right. Is there a motion for the following schedule regarding all four of these items? Legal notice sent to newspaper by Thursday, January 16, 2025. Legal notice is published Wednesday, January 22nd, 2025. Public hearing for Board of Finance. That's up to you. That's up to the Board of Finance. Board of Finance action is up to them that date, but the town meeting will be scheduled for January 29th, 2025. Is there a second?
Second.
There's the three dates that I gave. Okay, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion to adjourn. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. You can talk all you want.
Board of Finance.